Yo, Jay, what's going on here? You did not have to do that. Oh my gosh, 25 gifted subs. What is going on? Your finger slipped. Yeah, okay. Dude, you do not have to do that at all. That is very generous of you. Thank you very much. I know, I don't know why I have no camera, but this just is part and parcel with what's been going on with this streaming device in the last, I don't know, week or so. There, it says green light. There we go. Okay. I literally had to do that tech support thing where you turn it off and on. Well, holy moly. Let's, take a... I think that's going to continue to do that over and over again. But thank you very much, Jay, for that. That is super nice. Dude, you do not have to do that at all. Seriously, I appreciate you. I'm very happy that you've got stuff going on. Just, you know, take that and enjoy it. Get yourself a PS5 game, you know? Don't even spend it on me. I'm good. I'm good. Hey, Miss Nick, I think you probably got given a sub by Jay Holloway. Let me see. It's very likely. So hello and welcome. We have all kinds of sounds and emotes going on. If you're on the stream today, check out and see if you... Good, I'm glad you already got a PS5 game. Check out, see if you have the emotes that are exclusive, plus ad-free viewing for the next 30 days. So thank you to Jay for that, so you guys can have more time enjoying this. And yeah, thank you, Jay. And if you're not on Twitch and you're just coming on here through Facebook or YouTube, Twitch is where you get the gifts and things like this. So yeah, again, thank you, Jay, for doing that. That's crazy nice. You did not have to do that. All right. I think it's done. So, you pre-ordered Modern Warfare 2. You're going to have to let me know how that is, because I'm really not up on the Modern Warfare stuff. I'm pretty much Black Ops 2 was the last time I paid attention. So, very interested to see what you think about Modern Warfare 2. I think Black Ops 2 was great, and it was not, I mean, it was no Black Ops, but that's because it was revolutionary, and Black Ops 2, but it was a solid game. Modern Warfare was also awesome, so I think it's probably going to be good. But hello, and welcome to a Tuesday stream. Kicked us off really nicely with a bunch of gifted subs, so check that out, and please remember to thank Jay if you received a gifted sub from him. That is true. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I have my thermos today. I ran out of decaf, and I cannot brew an entire pot of caffeinated coffee at 8 o'clock at night. That's not going to be a good idea. So we didn't do that. We're just going to do the thermos. But I'm raising a mug or a thermos, or to all of you guys, especially Jay, thank you for being here today. Thanks for hanging out, and cheers. So what are we going to talk about today? No, seriously, I'm asking you. No, it's obviously, always feel free to put in any chat questions that you have or anything like that. But today I wanted to talk about things that I can't believe, but can believe that we get warned about. Today we're going to talk about, yes, just like what it says, we're going to talk about the sunlight being longer because of the tilt of the earth. We're going to talk about not taking showers during a thunderstorm. We're going to talk about how it's not safe to eat Tide Pods, and more things like that. And what we are going to all be centering these conversations around is the lack of critical thinking. It's not common sense, because I hear this all the time that everybody says that people lack common sense. I say it, I fall into that all the time, but it's not true. We do have common sense in the sense that the things that are common to us are sensible, so we just know them. It's more like common sense is like common knowledge, and common knowledge is something that is just apparent to everybody because it's like in our culture, it's in our day-to-day lives, it's on TV, it's in movies, it's in music, it's referenced all the time, and you see it all the time. So it becomes common knowledge what to do in a certain circumstance. And a perfect example I'll give you is oh my God. Thank you. Jay, I don't know. I have to actually talk to you about that, but that'll be off stream. NyQuil chicken. Yes, we will talk about NyQuil chicken. Yeah, I totally forgot. That's like the latest and most ridiculous one of them. It's actually what made me, no, actually, that's not true. What made me decide to do today's stream is I read an article from CNN about not taking a shower during a thunderstorm and saying why. That put me over the edge. But yes, Miss Nick, I remember you saying something about NyQuil chicken, and that is that's amazing, and it's exactly what I'm talking about. So, but the example I want to start out with is payphones. If you were born after the year 2010, first of all, that means that you're like 12, and I don't know what you're doing here on this stream because it's for adults, and get the hell out. No. But if you're 12 or you're 14, even some 18-year-olds may have no idea how to use a payphone. If they saw a payphone, I mean, they could probably read it and be like, I don't know, maybe I put coins in here, but like I don't have coins because I don't carry change. So they would look at a payphone, but probably would not be able to use a payphone. And if you were born before 1990, you're probably sitting there looking at somebody that says, I don't carry change and I don't know what this device is. And you're probably like, this guy has no common sense. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, common sense is like, well, of course it's a payphone. Of course you carry change in your car. What if you have to pay the meter? And then like a 20-year-old's going to look at you and be like, I pay with an app? What's wrong with you? Like, what do you, okay, you carry change around. Like, in today's marketplace, it's digital. Almost everything's digital, which is fantastic. But no, during, the last 100 years, that change was a big deal. Everybody had change. And there were things that took change, like vending machines and meters and payphones and toll booths, because, tolls didn't cost $6 to go across one part of Route 90. It was like more like 25 cents, 35 cents for a toll because it wasn't blatant highway theft. What I always think is funny is that highwaymen never really went away. They just changed in their sophistication. Like right now we have highway robbery of automatic tolls, and they call this like, whatever, Easy Pass. You're stealing from me every time I drive from this place to this place, and you do nothing for me. So, and the highwaymen would have the same kind of argument. They're like, oh, well, you got to pay the toll because we keep you safe. From who? Bandits who are going to take my money? Man, that would suck if there was somebody on the highway that took my money. But you see what, it's the same thing. So toll booths used to be change. Everything used to be able to be paid for in small transactions that would take coins. Now everything is at least $1. Even like the meter outside here, it's like $1 for, I don't know, like a half hour or something. It's like $2 for 2 hours, and it's a maximum of 2. Anyway, parking sucks. And using parking apps, you're paying dollars, not cents, to park. So I remember in Montrose, Pennsylvania in the 80s and 90s, the meter was like you could put a quarter into the meter and it would be good for like an hour. So, and it used to have nickel and dime slots too, and there was penny candy. Oh my God, I still remember penny candy. And these things those aren't things anymore. So common sense is when it's just the stuff that like we all take for granted and know what to do when we walk into a certain store or we walk into a certain place because it's just everywhere. It's just indicative of the time. That's not really what I'm talking about today. I want to just kind of differentiate. What I'm talking about is a lack of critical thinking when you have to be told things that you probably could have figured out all by your lonesome without somebody telling you. Seriously? You're not that far from Montrose? I grew up near Montrose. I was in Lawton, and before that I was in Dimmock. Elk Lake, like Dimmock area. But yeah, I was really not, I worked in South Montrose. That's crazy. I didn't know that's where in Pennsylvania you were. That's wild. My mom still lives in Springville. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm talking about this type of lack of ability to think two or three steps into what we're doing and just assuming things. Like there's a distinct lack of not ability. I doubt it's ability. I actually think it's pretty intentional, if anything. Oh, Wyalusing. I know exactly where I've been to Wyalusing many times. Wyalusing is not for. We were weren't we in the same district for sports? Wasn't Wyalusing one of the schools that played against Elk Lake and Montrose? Is that Susquehanna County still? I know I'm getting sidetracked, but I'm actually very interested. That's very cool. Like I kind of know. I know where you're at, and I've been there, and I will go there from time to time. I'll be in the Montrose area or Brooklyn, Salt Springs. I'll go there once in a while to go camping. So that's cool. I know that's kind of the other direction from Montrose, but yeah. So I want to start with an article on daytime because I just think it's interesting. And I saw you in here, and I'm not picking. I promise you, I'm not picking. Oh yeah, Tawanda. I remember Tawanda. That's so funny that you say this stuff because it's like you're just like flashing me back to like high school when I would like go and either play tennis or like my friend was in wrestling. And anyway, that's wild. So this is an article about daytime. Dude, I will totally do that. I'll let you know when I'm in that area. It will probably be either December or it will be in the early spring, like February, March-ish. But yeah, definitely. So the amount of sunlight in a day, and I'm not picking on you, and I'm not going to say who it is, but I think I saw you in chat earlier. I'm not picking. There is, we all kind of remember the movie 30 Days of Night. I do. I don't know if you guys do. Ashton Kutcher, I think is, no, not Ashton Kutcher. The other guy, I can never remember his name. I wish Chris Maccarini was here. The point is, it was a vampire movie where there were vampires in Alaska because in Alaska in the winter it gets dark for 30 days. Like there's no daylight. It's just dark the whole day. And we know that in the summer in Alaska, it is daytime all month. There's like a month of constant daylight. Like it says right here that daytime, as observed on Earth, is a period of the day in which a given location experiences natural illumination from direct sunlight. Daytime occurs when the sun appears above the local horizon, that is, anywhere on the globe's hemisphere facing the sun. So what it gets into is that daytime length variations. So if you look at day length as a function of latitude, there are days that get shorter when it gets to be winter, and there are days that get longer when it gets to be summer. And then there are parts closer to the equator where it's pretty stable and consistent all year. It doesn't matter. Now, why do I say this? Because I made a comment about like when it was dark. I'm in New England, so it's dark earlier. And it was dark, and I was talking to somebody who's in Florida, and they were like, well, it's, I think I saw a picture. I don't know. There was something where I'm like, hey, it's light out there, but it's dark out here. And they're like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, I'm not crazy. If you think about it, I'm up at a higher latitude, and the tilt of the Earth makes it so that I get longer and shorter days. So like in the summer, I'm sure in New England, it is longer we get longer days than when I lived down in Florida. I remember talking to my dad though in like the winter, and he'd be like sending me a picture of like, I don't know, he had like a nice cigar or he was like, some nice whiskey. And he's like, hey, check this out. And I'm like, dude, it's pitch black there. And I would send him a picture and it's like daylight outside of my house because the nights were longer because he's up in Binghamton, New York area. And it's just longer for him than it is for me when I was in Florida. I thought that was common knowledge. Now, there's a difference. I'm not talking about common sense / common knowledge. What I'm talking about is, if you think about it, and we know about the whole, Alaska gets the longer days and longer nights thing. If you think about it, it makes sense that if you're up in New England or in New York, you have longer days and longer nights than if you're closer to the equator, like the Tampa area. That's all I'm saying. But, I was told that I was being a ball buster because I was saying that. And I'm like, why? I mean, I get it, but I get it because and I'll get into this probably a little bit more later, but this kind of stuff like around the tropics and around the poles, like it actually goes into the details, like in that basically like there's the same amount of sunlight all year in both places, but they get the concentrations at different times. Like it's either steadily almost always the same, like on the equator it's almost always the same, and then if you get out into the higher and lower latitudes, then it becomes longer and shorter, but that balances out the amount of daylight per year. But that's like the science part of it. But like, I just take an anchor point of Alaska and how we know that's how it is. I mean, most people, I think, right? Like, is there anybody who didn't know that Alaska gets a month of daylight and a month of darkness? Because if I'm crazy, if I'm wrong, let me know, please. Tell me, because I would be very interested to hear that. It's just one of those things that kind of made me think, wait, but everybody knows that. I'm not being a liar. If I'm wrong, please let me know. I will refrain from this part of the conversation, but I just think that there's a logic to be had that, like, yeah, that makes, at least it makes sense. Like if somebody pointed it out to you, you would say, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's all I'm saying. But it's something that you would have to actually like think about and do 2 or 3 steps. Kind of that deep thinking. It's kind of what I was starting to talk about the opposite of last week before we got cut off, because I started talking about the JFK assassination, which is a complete coincidence. They had nothing to do with each other, and I'm never going to talk about that again. Deep thinking. Deep thought. Deep thoughts with Jack Candy. Anyway, talk about sidetracking. Nobody's even saying anything, and I'm getting sidetracked. Dear God. So that's one of the things that I want to talk about is the daytime thing. It's just there's a way for you to come to this conclusion. Here's how. You think somebody tells you like, well, yeah, it's like lighter out here where you are. It's in the south because it's in the fall, and where I'm at, it's in the north, and so I have shorter days than you. I mean, I would sit and think about it if I didn't think about it before and go, yeah, I mean, I guess Alaska has like all nights in the winter, and it is getting later in the fall. So yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like I would accept it. I might like verify later, but I would accept it. You know, I wouldn't think that it's like totally out of bounds. Let's go to the next one, because this one I think is much more to the point that I'm trying to make. This article, literally CNN Health, this was September 27th. So this just happened. This is what bothers me. It's like this just happened. Don't shower during a thunderstorm. Here's why. Did any of you need to be told that? I'm just curious. Again, I'm not going to pick on you, and you can DM me if you don't want to say it out loud. But did anybody need to be told that? That it's dangerous to take a shower during a thunderstorm? I'm just curious. I didn't. I mean, my mom might have said something to me when I was like 4 or 5 or something, like when there was a thunderstorm about the danger of lightning, but I don't think I needed to be told by the CDC and CNN not to take a shower during a thunderstorm. Have I done it? Sure. Was I quick about it? Yeah. Was it stupid? Probably. Don't shower during a thunderstorm. This article literally goes into details. Not as an adult. See, yeah, not as an adult. As a kid, my mom taught me that. But like as an adult, you could understand why you wouldn't want to take a shower during a thunderstorm. Because, you know, that whole electricity thing, and it's conductive, and water being a good medium for electricity. You know, all that crazy shit from science. From science class. From basic science class. You know, that stuff. This is a whole article that is seriously telling people, since lightning can travel through plumbing, it is best to avoid all water during a thunderstorm. Do not shower, bathe, wash dishes, or wash your hands. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention noted. Why? Why did they have to note that? Why? People don't know they could get electrocuted from a lightning storm by playing around with their plumbing? I mean, and again, you would have to actually know more than less. to think that you might be safe in a thunderstorm, because you would have to think like, well, my house is newer and it has PEX, so it doesn't have like copper plumbing. Like when I was a kid, all houses had copper plumbing. Copper is conductive as hell. So you had copper pipes in your house, you had water in those copper pipes, and there was a thunderstorm outside. If lightning and electricity in any way, shape, or form came anywhere near your plumbing, any pipe, you're going to get fried. I used to have nightmares, like when I was probably like 10 or 11. I used to hold in when I had to pee during a thunderstorm because I just had this horrific vision in my head of getting fried from taking a leak, and that just would be the worst place for electricity to travel into my body. So I took precautions. I did not want to piss and kill myself getting electrocuted through my genitalia. That was not an idea that I really enjoyed thinking about. So no, I just can't imagine. You would have to really think like, well, maybe the PEX makes it safe. And, well, isn't the ground wire to the house connected to a different piece of metal? Maybe. Sometimes. But, like, not always. Again, you would have to be overthinking and then be like, well, maybe I am actually safe. Like, we have a lightning rod and it goes somewhere else. But those aren't 100%. I mean, it's not like you're going to get hit by lightning commonly. It's not like a common thing. That's not the point. The point is, why would you play with that? And the real point here is we have obviously enough deaths from lightning bolts hitting homes when people are in the shower and they're dying. We have enough of them where it becomes a CDC issue. So that means it's a CDC statistic. And then, the CDC's going around warning people like, you should probably not do that thing that we know so many people do, that there's a statistic on people dying from it. And it just made me sad. It made me sad. And not sad just because people are dying, because that is sad, but sad because just the level of scrutiny that you would have to lack to just assume everything's going to be fine when you take a shower during a thunderstorm. Now, maybe there's some daredevils out there. Maybe there's the it can't happen to me mentality. Maybe. But I just see an article like this and I'm thinking, it's pretty stupid. It's just pretty stupid. Which, again, I would not think is so bad, except for this article is also something that I read, which was P&G launches an ad campaign to discourage the Tide Pod Challenge. Oh, the Tide Pod Challenge. Do you remember the Tide Pod Challenge? It was like a TikTok video, and it was like this big thing on the internet, and it wasn't real. It was people faking it, but then enough people faked it that even dumber people, usually kids, they thought that the fakers were real, so they actually did it for real, and they got really sick, and I think a couple people might have died, but maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know what actually happened. But, again, when a company has to spend money to discourage people from eating pockets of detergent, that's not common sense. That's not about common sense. That's a lack of critical thinking. That's like, I saw someone on YouTube do something. It must be real, therefore I can do it. Sure, kids are dumb. I get it. I know that. You know that. But like, enough people's parents aren't telling them this, where it's like, dude, it's detergent. Do you eat detergent? I don't know. Maybe some of you guys like a box of OxyClean for breakfast. There's definitely some OxyClean shovelers. I don't know if they're in the chat, but there's definitely OxyClean shovelers out there somewhere. And maybe they like it, and they put some milk in it, and it's very clean, and it makes them feel very good. All their stains internally are cleansed. But I don't think that happens often. But these guys had to make an advertisement. Videos depicting people biting into Tide Pod detergent packets have become an internet sensation, despite the danger that youngsters might swallow harmful ingredients. Who still says, by the way, youngsters? Like, the person who wrote this article is like, these damn youngsters are eating all these Tide Pods. It's making them all dead and stuff. Like, who says youngster? That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for the views on this article. That's amazing. They have become an internet sensation. Okay, so there's a internet video that's going around, or internet videos that show people doing stupid things. Okay. Why does that make them feel that they need to? Oh, and Gronk is on here. Look, Miss Nick, it's Gronk. He's not eating Tide Pods, even though he looks like he would eat Tide Pods. I'm sorry. He's probably a very smart man, but look at that look on his face. That was not a flattering place to pause. And I know I've had some thumbnails where it's not flattering to me, so I'm empathetic, but dear Lord, he looks like he's about to eat that Tide Pod. Oh, man. Oh, they picked the right guy for the video. And Gronk's like, what should Tide Pod be used for? Or Tide Pod's doing laundry, nothing else. P&G noted on the Facebook page for Tide, eating a Tide Pod is a bad idea. Why? Why does this need to be said? Who's the audience for this? Do you know a Tide Pod eater? Do you know a detergent eater? Any OxyClean scoopers in chat? Like, do you know guys that do that? Any detergent enjoyers that you know? Like, what the hell is this? Like, what is this? But this was a campaign that cost money. You had to pay money to have Gronk come on and tell people to not do anything but wash their clothes with Tide Pods. Oh, Gronk. I mean, I figured you'd appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, so here's the deal. An estimated 2.2 million calls to the U.S. poison control centers happen annually. About 10,570 were related to kids 5 or younger being exposed to the ingredients of laundry packets. Also, if you're a parent and you know that kids are dumb and they like to bite things and eat things, you probably should put those Tide Pods in a place where they're not really easily able to get them. Or, I don't know, don't use them because they suck anyway, and sometimes they don't actually dissolve and they get stuck in between the sheets, and then, like, you have this, like, dry packet of detergent still at the end of your wash cycle, and if you don't catch it, you put it in the dryer and it comes out. It's just this heated, matted thing of detergent stuck to the sheets. And by the way, that's not me. That didn't happen to me. I would never use Tide because Tide gives me hives. I had a client that just told me that a couple weeks ago, and I was like, see? Tide Pods suck. They're not even that good. How, like, tell me the convenience, please, of a Tide Pod. What's the convenience? You can't pour liquid into the measuring cup in your washing machine that says max fill line if you have a full load, and put a little less in and save yourself some money if you have less than a full load. I mean, there's more customization options with the liquid. I don't understand the Tide Pod at all. I really don't. You can't, like, put some water into that Tide Pod packet and swish it around and get that last half a load done while you're going to the store and get some more detergent. There's, like, you have less versatility, you have more wastefulness, and you only literally have a certain amount of loads of laundry you can do with that container of Tide Pods. I don't understand how a Tide Pod is better than detergent. You love the pods? That figures. If you had kids, you wouldn't love the pods, because apparently there's 10,570 kids under the age of 5 munching on these things because they're probably watching YouTube videos where they're like, oh, and there's, you know, it does the watch next and it automatically skips the next video. And so they probably started out watching Mr. Beast or whatever baby cartoon was on, and then all of a sudden it, like, flips to these kids that are like 10 and they're, like, munching on fake Tide Pods, and then these, like, 5-year-olds are like, oh, that looks like fun, let's do that, tee, and then they do it, and then they get sick. What happened to Mr. Yuck stickers, by the way? Because when I was a kid, like, we were stupid too, but we had Mr. Yuck, and I think you could still get the stickers because I ordered them like 10 years ago. I think you could still get them, and they're free. I believe they're free. Yeah, they're from the Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh. To request a free sheet of Mr. Yuck stickers, please send a self-addressed stamped business size envelope to them. And I did this like 10 years ago, and I got Mr. Yuck stickers. So if you don't know what Mr. Yuck stickers are, they're these. They're a little nasty sticker of a dude with his tongue out, and it says poison help, 1-800-222-1222. And it's the national toll-free poison help telephone number. So these were really smart, and parents would put them on detergent packets and, like, Dawn, and they would teach kids, like, This way you didn't have to like tell the kids like don't touch the Tide Pods, those are poison, and don't touch the mop juice because that, even though it smells nice, that's poison. You didn't have to go through and teach like a 4-year-old every single individual thing in the house was poison. All you had to do was say, if you see the Mr. Yuck sticker on it, that's poison. And if anybody has anything, and then if they drink it or if they get it in their eyes and it has the Mr. Yuck sticker on it, call this phone number. So even when we were kids, I was like really young and we were left home alone a lot. As my sister was like 4 years older, so she would like kind of be stuck babysitting us when she was 10 and I was like 6. But yeah, I mean, we would get hungry and look around the house and get bored. And if I saw a Mr. Yuck sticker on something, I wouldn't touch it because it was poison. And it was a very simple way for my parents to teach us, hey, this is poison. So this was a great idea, actually. And you can still get them today. Just go Google search Mr. Yuck, send that self-addressed envelope to that place in Pittsburgh, and you can get them. Or you can print your own, like, who cares? Go to Hobby Lobby or whatever and get yourself like a sticker sheet printer pack, and then you can print these Mr. Yuck stickers out and put them all over your house to prevent kids from apparently eating Tide Pods, because apparently kids are eating Tide Pods, a lot of them. There's like 11,000 kids. My guess, though, is that a decent amount of kids that are older than 5 are eating them from time to time as well. It's not part of the statistics, but it's pretty bad. My point is, this made me sad, alongside the article of like, it's not safe to shower in a thunderstorm, don't eat Tide Pods. And this is Miss Nick's contribution to this conversation. The FDA warns about NyQuil chicken TikTok challenge may have spiked interest. The way this article reads, by the way, is like there was an interest in NyQuil chicken, but that interest has gone up since there's been TikTok challenges about it. What was the desire? What was the interest in NyQuil chicken prior to these challenges, and what does that mean? So the FDA's warning about the NyQuil chicken trend reportedly resulted in 7,000 searches for it on TikTok, as opposed to only 5 a day before the statement. The things that this article says, though, about it is pretty fantastic. What did they say? Okay, so a recent social media video challenge, blah, blah, blah. All right, so the agency warned that cooking chicken in the nighttime cough medicine could cause liver damage and muscle breakdown. You don't say. Like, who is cooking chicken in cough medicine? Who's doing this? Apparently enough people, where again, a statement had to be made. And the way that this article explains it is like you're literally the dumbest person on earth. It's like, it says like, oh, well, if you do this and you do that, it causes these. It's like walking you through this as if you are a toddler. You're reading this and you're thinking to yourself, man, I used to think that was a good idea, but then the FDA explained exactly why cough medicine as a marinade for my chicken is actually a bad idea. Because before you thought it was a good one, or you just didn't critically think at all, and you thought, oh, that seems fun, let me do that. I kind of want to emphasize this before I kind of get off this rant. You would have to lack common sense so hard to really just unironically make NyQuil chicken. You would have the amount of critical thinking that you would have to not possess, like your lack of skill in critical thinking would have to be so strong in order for you to need to be told to not marinate chicken in cough medicine. And this is where we're at. I mean, I just want to be clear. This is where some people are at. Not you, not all of you, maybe some of you, not all of you. Some people are so far gone that they do not critically evaluate whether or not they should eat cough syrup chicken. That's where we're at. NyQuil doesn't even taste good, so I'm confused why you'd want to do it. Maybe it tastes better when it gets heated up. I don't know. Maybe they use the cherry one and they add a little bit of I don't know. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It just, the idea that people are doing like sleepy chicken. It blows my mind that somebody, and again, it's true though. It is true. This is not like a fake thing. People are actually eating cough syrup chicken. People are actually eating Tide Pods. People are actually not thinking that lightning storms are dangerous for them with water in their house. People don't know how to use payphones, and they don't understand why there's not the same, there's an amount of daylight everywhere. These are all real things. And, you know, there's different degrees. Like, I mean, obviously, like I started with the most like common thing, which like the sunlight thing, like I get it. I get why you wouldn't think that because it's not normal. It's not something you would really normally think about. And if you haven't actually like lived in both places and like if it's not like quick in your head, like my nephew was living in Alaska, so it was like very obvious to me. And I've been up in Redcar in England where it's like really close to the North Pole. So like it's very clear in my head when that happened because like when you experience sunrise at like 4 a.m. and sunsets at like 1 a.m, that's striking. So that one's not a big deal. I could see how people could not think about that. But these other ones, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And I'm sitting here thinking like, what would cause all of this mental laziness? That's what I'll say, mental laziness. It's not like stupidity. It's certainly not stupidity. It's mental laziness has turned into the less we know. And I think that it has to do with things like TikTok. I really do. I think that it has to do with, let me just switch over here. I think it has to do with the lack of awareness of things being fake. You know, this whole fake news craze that's happened over the last 6 years has been so frustrating and annoying because there is only news, but that news can be wrong. It's not fake, it's just wrong. But everybody loves a good tagline. Everybody loves a good billboard, a good title, a good nickname, a good slogan. It's just true. It really is. It's just true. I had somebody, they asked me a question yesterday about like doing a blog, and they asked me for a title, and they told me what it was about, and boom, I came up with a creative name for that is going to work, and it's catchy, and it's kind of cool, and it's like something that people would remember. Sadly, that's what people care about. It's, you know, it's not her fault. She didn't, you know, she just wants people to read it, which that's what people do on blogs, hopefully. But man, that's the most important thing, not even the content. It doesn't matter what I say. It really doesn't. The idea that people will find my videos or find my Instagram or find all that stuff is more to do with things like the title of videos, the song on a short that I'm using for like TikTok or Instagram, the simplicity of the topic. So the more complicated I get, the more people immediately tune out. Because it's really, we always drop down to the lowest common denominator, unfortunately, too often on the internet. I mean, it really is, it has been so much worse since the internet on such a massive scale. I think that there's more information available now to more people than ever before in history. And yet, people know less individually than at almost any other point in history on average. And people, the problem is that people will get information, but they'll either think uncritically about that information or they will outright reject said information because of other bad information that they're holding on to. We have more appeals to authority than ever. We have more logical fallacies of the popular opinion is the right one than ever. I literally hear like on TV people say like, well, the majority of people have been doing it this way and the majority of people think this, as if ad populum is not a logical fallacy. We're falling into more of these fallacies because people are just not thinking like, holy crap, people are eating chicken that has NyQuil as a marinade because a lot of people did it online. Holy shit. It drives me crazy. And we're training our brains to be smoother. I think it's a training. So how do you fix it? How do you stop this? What do we do about this? Because this is really bad. It's really bad. You gotta do some intentional work. Like you gotta like go on and look at an article and read the article. And then, God forbid, you want to take the time. Go find an article online, look it up, in an opposite opinion piece or an opposite publication that is, you know what I'm talking about, that there are clearly certain leaning journalistic articles and there are clearly the opposite leaning journalistic articles. Read them both and see if they both have the same numbers and statistics, if they look at the same sources, if those sources are credible. Like, I like the CDC statistics. I actually find those to be very useful. I like DOJ statistics. I find those to be very useful because they're just numbers. They're not percentages. So you can get caught up in statistics because there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. We all know that. I mean, maybe some of us don't, but that's a saying for a reason, because statistics can be manipulated all the time, but data is data. Raw numbers is raw numbers. So, critical thinking is something you have to practice. And I think that we listen to taglines, we listen to talking heads tell us taglines. We're not reading bodies of articles. We're just reading the bullet points. We're just reading the titles, and we're getting stuck in simple-minded, fast-acting brain activity that leads us immediately to a conclusion that we can bite down on and do something about. But that continual cycle is making people so unaware of critically thinking about any normal day-to-day stuff that I see people do things that it's just blatantly obvious that why would you do that? I mean, I just had one of my kids took a toilet paper and they threw it into a trash can. And it was like, why would you do that? And they told me about it. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, wouldn't that piss off your parent? And they're like, well, it did. I'm like, but like, wouldn't you think that it would? And they didn't get it. It's like, there's just not a step-by-step critical thinking that's going on. And my concern is this is making it so easy to be manipulated that really all you have to do is sound believable and have the clipboard in your hand and the hard hat on and walk around and tell people how it is, and everybody's just going to believe you. And also, people are just going to not think about doing things that are dangerous. I mean, I look at this on the road all the time. I don't know if you've noticed this or not. This is real. This is not just a delusional thing. Driving is getting more dangerous, like everywhere. And it's not just because there's actually more strict standards than there used to be for getting your license, getting your permit. There's a better system in a lot of states for teaching people how to drive well. There's a thoughtlessness to people's behavior that I notice on a regular basis that almost causes an accident literally almost every time I'm driving. If it's local driving, it's people not even looking to the left and just pulling out to the right, not thinking about it. It's people just cruising right over a bump and getting air on their tires, like over on the road, and almost spinning out of control because they just didn't think about if I go up a ramp fast, I'm going to jump. Like, there's a lot of those stupid errors, and I'm seeing a lot of those careless, thoughtless errors on the highway too, because I drive a lot, and I see people that just shift lanes back and forth, no problem. There's people, and they genuinely are like, whoa, sorry, like they're confused. I almost got run over a couple weeks ago by a lady who was taking a left turn out of an intersection stop sign when both sides were stopped for me to walk across the street, and she just pulls out, and she's looking straight ahead instead of to the left where she was driving, and I was 2 feet away from this car. And she slammed her brakes. And I saw this happening. I'm trying to back out and move over. And she's literally I was squared up for the kill, man. And she genuinely was just so sorry because she had no idea I was there because she was not looking. She just wasn't looking to the left. Hitting the brakes at an on-ramp is for squares. Yeah, I mean, there's that kind of driving too. But I'm saying, I almost got hit by a car just 2 weeks ago because somebody was being thoughtless and wasn't thinking ahead that, hey, this person stopped and this person stopped. Maybe it's because there's somebody walking across the intersection that I can clearly see in front of me. Thoughtlessness has consequences. And when I hear people say, I didn't mean to, as if it's a validation or some sort of actual excuse for bad behavior or things that cause destruction or things to break, it's not good enough. It's your responsibility. It's my responsibility to be vigilant, right? When did that stop? When did it become, as long as I didn't mean to or I didn't know that was going to happen, it's okay? Not knowing the consequences 2-3 steps ahead of your actions doesn't make that consequence not your responsibility if it happens. If you get struck by lightning because you took a shower in a thunderstorm, it doesn't matter that you didn't mean to die. You still got killed. That doesn't help. Like, what do you do? Like, well, I can't die now. I didn't mean to. I didn't know you could die from lightning. Great. Tell it to the lightning bolt. I'm sure it's interested in hearing your story. Destruction as a consequence of your behavior is your responsibility, whether or not you thought about it. So please do me a favor this week. Think critically for a minute. Practice reading into things, thinking about things logically. Think about things more than 2 steps ahead. Play some chess, for God's sake. Play some poker. Do something that makes your brain work a little bit harder. Play a PS5 game that you just bought on your PlayStation 5 that you just got because of your new job. Do something like that. Enjoy yourselves. And I am open now for some Q&A. I'm going to put on the BRB LOL. I will look for a couple questions from you guys. And and that's what we're going to do right now. Put on a little music while you guys catch up to the stream and put in your questions. In the meantime, if you are so motivated, please feel free to go and follow me on YouTube at The Life Coach. You put in The Life Coach, Holistic Life Consultants, and subscribe. Find me on Instagram at The Life Coach Insta. And you can find me on my website at holisticlifeconsultants.com and become a member, where you get more fun stuff like this behind the paywall, 3 hours a week of coaching specific to you and your situation. And there's more Q&A there too. It's a little bit more serious than this, and we have better content. All right, BRB LOL. All right, we are back. Cool. So, what did you guys come up with? We had some fun with all those articles. I hope you did too. Some of my rants and ravings about things that drive me nuts. I know that that's not really It's not the most pressing thing in the world, but to me, it's like these are the little things that I have fun talking about. I do more serious stuff on the streams where it's like behind the paywall, but I obviously can't be doing that here because that's for just members only. So this is kind of the stuff where I get to rant and rave about the stuff that I think is funny or ridiculous, or at least entertaining to myself. Most of this is me entertaining myself. So tomorrow, I don't think we're going to have a guest. I'm not sure. I asked Chris. I think he said yes, but I want to double check because it was late. So I want to make sure that he's still cool with that. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to be here for another couple minutes. I'll commit to 9. And if you guys have anything that you want to talk about, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. I do have to check up on people in Florida because there's a hurricane, if you didn't know, in Florida, and it's not great. I think I'll take a shower while I wait for Ian's arrival. Please don't do it. What do you mean, where's the stream? I'm live. I'm live right now. If it froze, you can go back on. You can just check, because sometimes it's your phone or your computer. Sometimes it's my computer and my internet, and sometimes it's OBS. Sometimes it is Twitch. Sometimes it's YouTube. Sometimes it's Facebook. I mean, I don't know. There's so many things that can go wrong. Remember that, like, and this is something that I remind myself, I pay like $110 or something a year for me to be able to multicast, and I'm able to stream on 3 different platforms simultaneously for $100 a year. So, you know, and I could stream for free. I could stream on Twitch all day, every day for free. It is insane the amount of technology that has to be put into me streaming at all. And the fact that I could do it for free, I'm so grateful for. I really am. I mean, I genuinely believe that that is an amazing service that is provided for $0 because they can do some ads, unless you got a gifted sub from Jay Holloway, in which case you don't have ads for the next month. So congratulations to you. Plus you get fun emotes. So if you go to your emotes right now on your chat, hello, Suki Goes Bang, you can use all of the Life Coach Twitch emotes, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it is just about 9. I am going to answer any questions that you might have before I go off into the sunset, so to speak, even though it's been dark here for a while because I'm, as I said before, in New England, and it gets darker here in the fall and winter than it does closer to the equator. So yeah, any questions you guys have, just let me know. Happy to answer them. If you have questions and you're not watching this live, there's always a video of this that is up on Facebook, and it's up on Twitch as a VOD, and it's up on YouTube. I think I'll keep them up as VODs and on Facebook and Twitch for about a month. I'll probably keep them on for a month. And the YouTube videos, I will be either getting an editor, or I will be editing all of those just to trim them back and just have the content on there. And I'll take some clips from some of those things and make some shorter videos for you to look at. So if there's things that I think were interesting or important, I'll put those up. Some of my rants and raves, put those up too. But if you do have questions, you can put those in the comments section of those things. I usually can see those comments about like once every other day or so. But if you want to get to me directly, you can DM me on Twitch, and you can DM me on Instagram at the Life Coach Insta. So if you don't have a question right now, but you think about it later, feel free to let me know. I will try to incorporate it into the beginning of the next stream, which will be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Otherwise, we're going to call it today, and we're going to get out of here. Actually, you know what I did yesterday, which was cool, and I hope you guys didn't mind it? I want to get back into good habits of streaming, and one of the things that I used to do very well last time was raid. So I do want to do that. If you guys don't mind, I'd love to go raid somebody that we know, and I will see if there are any raid targets. Nobody that's really the same or what we're doing. I'll try to do Rust or other mental health streamers. Oof, my bit rate's terrible. Wow. Man, there must be a really big delay. So I'll wait another couple minutes. Man, we now have 39 subscribers because of Jay. Thank you, Jay, again for that. That's crazy. I didn't see her on there. Wait, when did you send that, Jay? Did you just send that? Nope, that was the 13th. Okay. Yeah, don't. Here, probably shouldn't DM me, come to think of it, on Twitch, because it's hard for me to see it because I have a different Twitch account that I use to watch people. That sounds creepy. To watch live streamers, stream Rust usually is what I'm watching, and Kit Boga, but I kind of stay more anonymous because I have a different name there. But yeah, it's probably best to just DM me on Instagram. That really is the best way to get a hold of me. I get those notifications on my phone, and I will incorporate your answer or the answers to your questions in those DMs. So if that is all, we don't have any questions right now, we're going to call it. I'll play some music for everybody. We're not going to raid today, but be ready for it next time because I'm excited to try to get back into good habits and good etiquette in Twitch. So anyway, you guys have a great evening. The stream is ending soon, and we will catch all y'all tomorrow.